today I had another neurologist appointment. I'm just over 3 months into my injury um, that I that I got when I was flying on. Yeah, I can't. I'm gonna have to start this over. I'm gonna start it over. Start it over. Okay. So today is no. Okay, let's start it over. I can do this. I can do this. Okay. So I'm just over 3 months into my injury that I got when I was working an international flight. There was severe turbulence, and it lasted for 3 solid minutes of me bouncing around all over the place with no control over my limbs. So just didn't know how bad it was at the time, and as time is going on, I'm learning that the brain injury is a pretty big deal, as it turns out. So today was my 3rd appointment with a neurologist, and I've been going to vestibular rehabilitation and physical therapy for my cervical strain. And at first you start making a lot of progress, and then you get to a place where you feel like you're not doing much anymore. It's a plateau, I guess. And so I guess after today's test, I can really see that we need to, it's time for reassessment and a new plan. The test that I take when I go to the neurologist's office is, I think, a standardized test. So when we talk about it, we're not going to give the specific numbers or words or questions, but we're going to give examples that are similar, just for the sake of having the conversation. But the very first thing, they want to know that what year it is, I guess, the time, and there's really no other way to say that, but they want to know that you know what day it is. And my previous 2 tests, I did know. I got that right, and I think I might have had to think about it a little bit, but today I didn't get that right, and I didn't know that I didn't get it right until you told me after the test. I set a date that I thought was correct, and it wasn't.
So the physician's assistant tells us you have to answer these questions with no help.
He can't help
So for me to sit there and hear us say these incorrect responses, it kind of kills me a little bit. But in her defense, when a flight attendant's traveling, not knowing the date is nothing strange.
No, that's not new. So that can be forgivable. But the next couple of questions were specifically about someone in history that I should know. I should definitely know. And I did get those. I knew those. So my long-term memory seems to be intact. I haven't felt like I've forgotten too much that I wouldn't normally forget. I mean, come on, everybody, forget stuff, right? But that part seems to be fine. What I've known and what this test really, I think, showed, what I've been aware of lately is that my short-term memory is really not good. And so the next part of the test gets into a group of words. So there's a group of words, 4 words, and one of them is a person's name. And I'm meant to remember these words and say them back in order, and then hold on to them in my brain, because later the person administering the test is going to ask me again for those words. So anyway, so the words I could remember mostly. I think the first couple tries I didn't get all 4 words, but I would get like 3 words, but I'm never getting them in the right order. I'm starting with word number 3 as if it's word number 2, and I'm just jumbling things right on up. But I'm not inventing new words. And when it does come around again at the end of the test, I did, with a little work, I did come up with all the words and even the name,
Right.
but still not in order. Order is a problem. And the next part of the test shows that too.
Right. So along with the words, the physician's assistant tells you just keep those words in the back of your mind, and then the individual gives you a set of numbers and math problems.
And that was not good either. The numbers, when I would try to recall the numbers, and it was like maybe a series of 5 or 6 numbers.
Yes.
And they're single digit and double digit numbers. Mixed up. Talk about mixed up. I definitely got them mixed up. So he gives them to me in an order, and I tried to give them back, but it's just like when I try to take someone's phone number right now. I just can't do it. Like, I know that I'm messing it up. I can get the first 2 digits maybe, and then you're gonna have to repeat it. So with this test, I was jumbling all the numbers, and he gave me several series of these numbers and consistently jumbling them. In one case, I duplicated a number.
Right. But you're not adding numbers. You're not leaving numbers off, and you're not adding numbers that aren't given to you. So I look at that as a positive, where you're not adding random numbers out of nowhere. You're reciting the numbers just in the wrong order.
Yeah. So that's.
But I look at that as a positive.
He would. Anyway, so the next part was math in my head, and the last time I took this test, I left bragging, oh, I did so good with the math. I did well last time with the math in my head. It might not have all been perfect, but I felt more confident. This time, I felt like I had never tried to math ever.
Again, I'm sitting next to you, and it's very frustrating because I know the answers and I can't tell them to her.
So the first one was a multiplication problem, and I'll just say, for example, the numbers were maybe it was 24 times 6. It was simpler than that. I'm just throwing this out as an example. So 24 times 6, is that what I said? And I could remember 2, 4, 6, for example, but I kept getting them jumbled up in that little notepad in the brain where you write out the math problem, old school, like you write the problem with the X, and so I'm doing that, but I'm confused about where the numbers are going there, and then once I feel like I got it right, then I've forgotten what I was doing that to begin with, for like why I was doing it. So then I had to ask the question, can you repeat the question? So that was really hard for me today. And then I know I got it wrong. And then the next one was a subtraction problem, and I got that one wrong. And then I was meant to divide a number in half. And the first reply that I gave, I knew that it was wrong. And then I started getting upset because I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't think of the right one. And then I said another number, and I knew it was wrong too, but I just couldn't get it right. And so I was frustrated. And then after the math stuff was, I had to draw a thing. And I'm an artist. I'm a portrait artist, representational artist. I've done this my entire life. Drawing should be my thing. And the first part was a clock, and I was meant to put a specific time on this clock. And I got the hands wrong. It wasn't quite right. It wasn't terribly off. It wasn't like half a clock or something like it was.
Well, you had the correct line up, but just the incorrect hands. You had the small hand where the big hand should be, and vice versa. So
it was just a little off. and then I was meant to draw an object that should be a pretty simple thing to duplicate, and I could do it. I duplicated it, but it wasn't the way I would normally do it. So would it pass? Yeah, probably it would pass, but I look at it and I know that that's not the way I would do it under normal circumstances, and so again, that's upsetting. And then I think the last part was I was trying to remember those earlier words from the beginning of the test, and I got them out of order. I got them, but I just want to say this, like, for anyone who has to go and take this test, it can catch you by surprise, because I did not expect to go in there, because I've been feeling good. I've been feeling more like myself lately. I felt like my mind was clearer, but I knew that my short-term memory was bad. Just didn't expect to perform as poorly as I felt I did today on this test. So if you take it and you feel like, oh my gosh, what the heck happened? Just understand that you're not alone. I wept. I cried several times throughout this test, and maybe that was too strong an emotional response to the test. I don't know, and maybe that's something that's going on in my brain too, that needs to be.
Well, it's frustrating for you because you are very proficient in math, and you're an artist, so to not be able to do those things can be very frustrating.
Well, and I mean, I was an excellent student in school. I was valedictorian in my class. Like, I know that I have a strong brain, and for these things to fail me, it's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. So the next step for us, and I say us because this poor man is going through all of it with me, but I'll be having an MRI on my cervical spine, which we're kind of surprised that didn't happen earlier, but we're doing that now. And kind of putting the vestibular rehabilitation and physical therapy for the cervical strain on hold for just a bit while we get test results from that MRI, and also some evaluation by a neuropsychologist to help identify specific deficiencies, I guess, that we can work on, and hopefully, in the end, get this puzzle solved. But it's I feel like it's going to take some time for sure. And the doctor mentioned that in in all these cases of brain injury, this kind of puts me in that bottom rare 5% of people who at this 3-month mark just haven't, spontaneously kind of gotten better. And it's going to take some time and effort to get me where I need to go. But we're going to keep going.
You got this.
Yeah, I got this. That's what he keeps saying. But we'll get there. I do have great support, a great support system, my friends and my family, and all the funny memes and things that I get all the time. That just it saves me. It brings me back to life sometimes when I'm feeling. I think what I would refer to as maybe just the grieving of the way things were. Like I know that. I just know that things won't be exactly like they were before, and are things ever really just the way they were? That you're always moving and changing, and so I'm trying to look at it that way. But there's definitely it's hard to go through a change like this, I guess, and but we'll get there.